Okay, so good morning, class. Our today's topic is the origin of the Earth and solar system. So under the origin of the origin of the Earth and the solar system, we are going to learn about the definitions and how the sun originated and the solar system. So let's start. So, the planets originate in a dense disk formed from material in the gas and dust cloud that collapses to give us the sun. The density of this disk has to be sufficient to allow the formation of planets and yet be thin enough for the residual matter to be blown away from the sun as its energy output increased, okay? So under that, we are going to learn the two main theories. The first one is the passing star theory. The theory was advanced by James and Jeffries, and the theory states that the sun existed earlier than the planets. A big star with greater gravitational force than the sun passed nearby and attracted large quantities of materials in form of gases from the sun. The materials split into portions as they cooled and condensed to form planets. They were then set into orbits around the sun. The smaller material formed the heavenly bodies like the moon and asteroids. As cooling continued, heavier materials collected at the center and formed the core of the Earth. The less dense materials collected around the core to form the mantle and the crust, okay? Then we have the second theory, which is the nebula cloud hypothesis. So the hypothesis suggests that the solar system started out as a nebula cloud, which is a large rotating cloud and cloud of dust and gas. Now, due to acceleration in its rotation, nebula does flattening into a disk oriented perpendicularly to its axis of rotation. The planets and sun were concentrated from the dust and gases in the cloud by gravitational attraction. Then we have the summary of other theories on Earth origin. So the first theory is the planets were spun off the sun. So this theory suggests that the planets were spun off the sun and are thus essentially daughters of the sun. So their weaknesses, if this were the way that the solar system formed, then the sun would have most of the angular momentum and the sun will be less massive than it is. Then we also have another theory, which is the Big Bang theory. And the Big Bang theory, it presupposes the existence of a universe initiating explosion, and light elements were formed during the early stages of the Big Bang, creating a universe composed principally of hydrogen and helium. So there you should be aware of the main theories, which is the nebula cloud theory and the passing star theory. Then you also know the other theories, which is the Big Bang and the planets was spun of the sun, okay? So on to the next subtopic, we are going to look at the characteristics of the solar system. So one, it is a part of a nebula. Most of the mass of the solar system is concentrated in the sun. The third characteristic, the planet and the sun each have a somewhat different density, suggesting different time and temperatures of origin. Then we have heavy noble gases are rare on Earth as compared to space and the sun. Then 98% of the angular moment is found in the planets. So those are the characteristics of the solar system and you should be aware of them. And you can also be able to state them whenever you are asked. So the Earth's thermal structure, the interior of the Earth is very hot because of three heat sources. So the first heat source is heat of formation, where the original heat is still retained long after material broke away from the sun. The weight of millions of tons of the crustal rock that cover the interior, thus generating pressure caused heat. Then we have the radioactive heat. There is constant explosion of radioactive materials within the interior of the Earth due to nuclear fusion, thus generating heat. We also are supposed to know the shape of the Earth. So under the shape of the Earth is described as spherical, though not a perfect sphere, and it is slightly wider at the equator and flattened at the poles, giving it a shape called a geoid or oblate spheroid, okay? Then lastly, we have the proofs that the Earth is spherical. The following arguments may be adduced in witness of Earth's spherical shape. So the first one is circumnavigation. It provides proof that the Earth is round. So anybody traveling at constant bearing from any point on the Earth's surface will eventually come back to the point of departure. Then two, examining photographs taken in space rocket at a very high altitude and more shows the horizon as a curved line, okay? So the third one is the dip of the horizon is everywhere the same. So the horizon is always circular at an observer. Then four, we have if the Earth was flat, the sun will rise and set precisely at the same moment over its entire surface, and the angle at which the rays of the sun strike the Earth will be uniform. And lastly, we have in lunar eclipse, the Earth's shadow on the moon is always seen to be circular, and the only geometrical form which at all times is always cuts a circular shadow is a sphere, okay? So up to there, under this topic, you should be familiar with the definition and how the Earth originated. And also you can describe the main theories, which is the passing star theory and the nebula cloud hypothesis. And then you should also have a summary of other theories, which is the planets or span off the sun, and you should know their weaknesses and also the Big Bang theory. And then you can also list the characteristics of the solar system and also discuss the Earth's thermal structure and the shape of the Earth. And finally, you should also know the proof that the Earth is spherical, and you can also explain them, okay? So up to there, let's end our lesson and make sure you do the assignment and the quiz that are in your portals.